Calling the July 16th, 2025 Public Works Commission meeting to order. First item is the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Second?
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Recording in progress.
Oh, do we need to do it again?
No, they're recording separately.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye for myself. Carries. Next item is public forum. Seeing nobody in the room for public forum. Rob, is anyone online?
No members of the public online.
Great. Moving on to the next agenda item, FY26 officer elections.
All right. This is where I get to take over and chair the meeting for a bit. These are our annual elections. We have 3 positions: chair, vice chair, and secretary. Each of these are one-year positions. The secretary is allowed to be a staff member. And if I understand correctly, Val Ducharme, our customer service supervisor, is still committed to being the clerk secretary, if that is friendly to you all. And with that, why don't we start with nominations?
Can I make a nomination to have, can it be one slate to have the existing chair and vice chair and Val as the secretary on the same
Yes, that would
ballot?
I'll
be
second.
appropriate.
Is it a second? Or
Well,
is it-
what, could you give us the names for each of the positions?
So the chair would be Commissioner Chris Damiani, the vice chair would be Commissioner Eliana Fox, and then the secretary would be Val Ducharme, staff member.
Okay. Nominations don't require a second. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I will ask for a vote in favor of the slate forwarded by Commissioner Barr. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed?
We're
Are we
allowed
allowed
to
to
vote
vote for ourselves?
I
You can
think
vote for
so.
each other.
Yes, you can vote for yourself.
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Are there any abstentions? All right, by unanimous vote, congratulations. And I will turn it back to the chair.
Excellent, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 5, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved?
And a
Second.
Second? Commissioner O'Neill-Vivanco, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? None? Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item 6, the walk bike safety action plan. Philip, I believe this is you.
This is me. Just waiting to be promoted to a panelist, and then I have a presentation to give. Oh, hey, look at that. Philip joining as a panelist. Okay, I can do that. Great. Share my screen. All right. Great. Philip Peterson, Senior Transportation Engineer and Planner. That's a new title, sort of.
It is a new
I'm
title.
trying to fit it, I don't know. Anyway, so, great to be here again with you, Commission. Love to present these things so we can collaborate on some projects. We've talked about Plan BTV, Walk Bike Safety Action Plan quite a bit. It's been a 1-year process, basically, to get through it. City Council approved the plan at their June 16th meeting, a month ago, basically. And so now, like, what does that mean for the commission? What does that mean for us? What does that mean for DPW's work? And we're going to kind of go through that. We're going to do an overview. Why did we kind of initiate the process? What's in the plan? Focus areas for what we're not going to be doing right now, at least within the next 3 years. Where kind of our grant applications are at. What our city priorities are, and basically just like the timeline, what's next. This is a project team that worked on the project. Special thanks to our partners with the CCRPC. You guys rule. Want to be here now. And then also this is our PAC, the advisory committee. We had city council members, folks within the city, and then also external partners, the Walk Bike Council, AARP, Office of City Planning, our friends with GMT, And then, of course, Safe Routes to School. It's good stuff. So what are our goals tonight? We're going to share some of the safety action plan. I did share a copy of the final plan with you all yesterday, so you can read through it hopefully again. I don't know. Kind of discuss what's next, emphasize what we're going to be focused on over the next few years, which is pedestrian safety improvements. And just to clarify that we're not looking for any major corridor projects at this time, not based on the safety action plan, and just kind of current goals of the city and current goals of federal administration as well. So why a safety action plan? Well, we know that 40% of Burlington serious crashes involve people walking and biking, and we also know that Burlington is one of the Vermont's highest risk communities for vulnerable road users, and that's from a study that was done in 2023 by VTrans. We also know that we need a data-driven process, and in order to have a data-driven process, we got to update things every 4 or 5 years, which is also required for federal grant eligibility, which includes state grants too. And this is all based on the big plan from 2000. There are the work that's involved, things that we've done, things that we've all done together, and we have made some progress. And this, from probably about 6 months ago, is even outdated now because we have done other things. There's other work that we're currently doing. The Bikeways project is looking to start up. So we have made some progress. The safety action plan itself is an update, as I said, to Plan BTV Walk Bike. It meets federal criteria. It also meets criteria for VTrans, and it builds on what's known as a safe systems approach. I kind of gave an overview in my email yesterday what that means. The safe systems approach is basically this acknowledgement that people make mistakes, humans make mistakes, and the idea behind the safe systems approach is good design, lower speeds, so that when people do make mistakes, it's not going to be as catastrophic. So that's kind of the idea, and that's like very boilerplate. There's way more to it than that. So what's in the safety action plan? Well, we did a huge data-driven analysis of crash patterns over the past basically 10 years. We did community surveys, and then there was a lot of discussion around proven safety countermeasures, clear priorities for pedestrian safety improvements. There is definitely some work that we've done on bigger corridor studies and other larger bike network projects. I'm not focusing on that in this presentation because that's not what we're going to be focusing on. But ultimately, the plan also is structured in a way that we can strategically align ourselves with some grant funding and pursue funds so we can make some projects happen. We did submit for a Safe Streets for All grant. What was it, about 2 weeks ago, something like that. So we budgeted for it. The grant that we submitted for is focused on pedestrian safety upgrades, which aligns well with our mayor's goals and also with the federal government. There's definitely been some changes with the Department of Transportation and their approach. And we recognize, and we were told directly by FHWA staff, Vermont FHWA staff, that if we pursue grants that are focused on bicycle infrastructure, they're just not going to be competitive. And so it's like, all right, let's pursue what we can. And what we can pursue is projects that are safety oriented for pedestrians, families, near schools, things like that. Those will definitely be more successful. What we're not going to be focused on with this plan is major corridor redesigns. And why that's not changing, I have no idea. Come on, change. Anyways, so we're going to focus on cost-effective, high-impact pedestrian safety projects. There it is. So these larger projects like we see on Main Street, that's not what we're looking to do. So let's talk about what we are going to be focused on, the things that we can kind of like look towards, and that's going to be pedestrian safety projects, crosswalk upgrades, installing new crosswalks, looking at signal upgrades like LPIs, leading pedestrian intervals, where it would make sense to put in new RFBs, intersection safety, and then looking at quick builds, pilot projects, demonstration projects, things that are low cost and are not necessarily new projects, things that we're doing now. And what does that mean for the commission? Well, that means that we're going to be coming to you looking for you to approve targeted no parking zones, supporting pilots, curb extensions, signage and signal upgrades, endorsing those pilot projects. We're going to maybe look at adjusting lanes, adding markings. You're going to vote on parking regulations. We will discuss proposed changes in public meetings. And you all, as you always do, the commission is going to help implement Burlington's mobility goals. This is our touchstone. This is where we come to talk about our projects, and I look forward to that. And that's what it means for the commission. So with this plan and how we're using it now, it aligns with federal goals, but it also aligns with current administration and the city's goals: public safety and equity, improved access to housing and transit, climate resilience, and it supports underserved areas and vulnerable users. So what are the next steps? Well, we're going to prepare for whatever grants we get awarded. We did also apply last week for a small-scale VTrans bike ped grant for similar pedestrian projects. We're going to continue budgeting these projects into our capital plans. We're going to continue to collect data. And then we have a lot of coordination with our local partners, the CCRPC, planning, parks, and other community partners. The Main Street Scoping Study is coming up, and also the Transportation Plan Update, which we have tentatively everything's like Plan BTV, so we think we're going to call it Plan BTV Mobility. So that's kind of where things are at, and happy to take questions and have a discussion.
Excellent. Thank you, Philip. Jim?
Yeah, just the one thing, we, in our wonderful rush to elect our leadership, I don't think we fully acknowledged our new commissioner, and I don't know if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, excellent. So I wanted to welcome Commissioner Hayes, Julie Hayes, to the commission. I don't know if you wanted to share any introduction.
Sure, I'm happy to. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I am in the south end of Burlington. I've lived in Burlington for a couple of years and have a background in policy and government consulting, and have served previously in Virginia on a Transportation Safety Commission, which was equivalent to a Public Works Commission, and also Planning Commission. I am deeply passionate about changing and shifting things for the better in Burlington. I was talking earlier to some of you about all the potential and opportunity here. We moved our family here to lay down permanent roots, and I'm just excited to be a part of hopefully contributing in some way to make Burlington better. So thank you for having me.
Excellent. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We're happy to answer questions. This is just an information item, as we were explaining to the new commissioner earlier, that often for major items we try to bring them in a two-step process. Since there will be upcoming traffic regulation changes, we thought that an overall discussion of what these likely projects will be would be helpful to orient the commission before specific action is requested.
Excellent. Commissioner comments on this item. Let's start with Commissioner Barr.
Sure, I don't have any specific comments. I'm excited that this is going to happen, and it's finally come to this level. I was kind of thinking that the 2017 plan was on a bookshelf somewhere, and so now.
I mean, it is on a bookshelf. It's
I know,
on my
but
bookshelf. I look at it.
It just didn't seem like things were moving as fast, and I think that this is going to streamline a lot of things. And as much as I love bicycles, I think that we need to fix the whole problem. So I'm very happy with this.
Commissioner Nyong'o.
Of course, I have comments.
That's good. That's a good thing.
So given the, given the lexicon of U.S. Department of Transportation, right? And then just reading some of the language of the city priorities, are we making sure that we're aligning with that language so that we are setting ourselves up to, right? to be funded. We can talk about all Americans, but I know DOT prefers to speak about high birth rates, high marriage rates, and that we're not focusing on one area of the population because we should focus on all the population. Am I threading a needle enough?
We're not compromising our own values
Okay.
as a city. What we're doing is we're focusing on projects that we know we need to work on anyways. We know that pedestrian improvements in the city of Burlington is definitely something that needs to be done, and that aligns with our values, and it aligns with FHWA/Department of Transportation values. Their safety and pedestrian improvement, they're okay with that.
Okay.
And so we're trying to find where those Venn diagram overlaps occur without compromising our own value system.
Okay,
So,
great.
yeah.
No, I certainly appreciate that, and I certainly appreciate some of the challenging times that we're in right now in applying for funding like this. In looking at this kind of safe systems approach and focusing on the high-impact pedestrian safety, what are the, you talked about schools,
Sure.
because I'm going to die on that hill.
Right.
Union and Main Street. It's gonna be the Peggy O'Neill cross, no turn on red signal.
Right.
Do we have a list of the action items or the priority intersections that once we get funded will be, teed up or are at least in the queue?
Oh, yeah.
And then I know you're really focused on sort of this data-driven approach. Has there been regular communication with the school district leadership, but also with the specific schools?
Yeah, so two-part question.
Sorry.
Yes, we have lists and lists and lists of projects, and we do have, I hesitate to just start saying like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I don't need
Until
that.
we know we have funding for a lot of these projects. Some projects we're gonna do anyways. And the other question you had is with the school district. I have, every 2 weeks I meet, it's the Burlington School District Safety Leadership Committee. So it's folks within the school district that just meet and talk about these things. Myself and Christina Cangelosi, we meet with the school district every 2 weeks. And we talk about everything that we're doing, what paving projects are coming up, and we discuss other initiatives. One thing that maybe the commission doesn't know is we will be putting in a couple of rubber speed humps that are lower profile on North Ave near Barley Road because of the morning commute, kind of the way that things get so chaotic for Champlain, Flynn Elementary School at the end of Star Farm Road. So we're always having conversations with the school district around their priorities, for sure.
And then I guess tied into that is Safe Routes to School, which is no longer funded by the state, but there's, I was just on a call today with Christina and Sophia Donforth from, our kind of ecosystem.
We still meet.
Okay.
Safe Routes to School, we still meet. Local Motion.
Yep.
Still, it's Local Motion, us, school district folks, and right now it's once a month, but we still meet, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think that's just like a really crucial link between, the city and the schools, just other voices.
We have several projects with the school district right now, like at almost every school, except for Edmonds.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
So I'm just going to say.
I'm just kidding. Yes.
I know, that's unfortunate, but that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is all awesome. The questions I had were probably going to be provided later when they're action items for us, but I was curious about some things that maybe relate to the focus areas and the priorities. I was wondering partly about the compliance monitoring for the no turn on red, like out here at this intersection and others. How effective are the signs is really what I'm asking.
It's a great question. I don't have that data or information for you. I can tell you that there's 6 E's in the Safe Systems approach, and one of the E's is enforcement. And, you know, I can't comment on the enforcement element because that's not, our E is engineering. The enforcement arm is not, it's not something we can control. So, you know, we'll continue to work with our partners with the police department, and, you know, that is good data to maybe look at collecting. Parsa can put that on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on. And we do have camera monitoring equipment at a lot of our intersections now. And so that's an easy piece of information that I think we can probably collect. What is the compliance with a no turn on red? Because most of those intersections have that. And it could be just a data point. I like it.
Okay.
So, but other enforcement elements, that's.
This is probably not pertinent to this particular discussion, but a very zany idea would be if DPW staff can enforce parking violations and assess fines, is there a way to broaden, maybe the city council could broaden the capabilities for moving violations as well?
I mean, you bring up an interesting point. It's not that we haven't discussed the possibility of enforcement using cameras, but that's kind of up to the legal people above us.
Yeah, I think that was state law says
That-
there
yeah.
can't be at least red light stuff. Okay.
Yeah, we are very interested in pursuing this, at least having the discussion. We brought this to the Transportation Energy Utilities Committee. We are struggling with enforcement because of the low number of officers. We know that's an important element of the safe systems approach. And frankly, one of the huge benefits of it is it's bias-free implementation.
Yeah, that's
there
right.
aren't people behind the decision of whether to enforce or not. It's all just done by computers. So I am very interested in this, and hopefully we'll be coming back to the commission with progress and proposals for you to weigh in on, as I would like to bring something to the next legislative session.
Technology is there. It's the legal part.
Yeah, in Florida, there were plenty of notorious intersections that were maybe a little bit trigger happy with the running the red
Right.
situation. But yeah, I would much rather have things on that side of the spectrum rather than people running reds more
Yeah.
often.
Right.
One thing I noticed, and this is like you'd likely already be doing this if this were a good idea, but for me at least, driving, the further back the stop white bar is from the intersection, the harder it is to actually make a turn on red.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if some of these that might be like particularly high incident areas, if that might be a possible solution as well. Or not solution, but
Yeah.
mitigating
Design
factor.
element.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up an interesting point. Stop bars are, they're a design element at an intersection, and if they're too far back from the intersection, it's like an unwarranted stop sign. People are just going to ignore them. So there is kind of a balancing act with that. A lot of times, stop bars that are further back has to do with the turning radius off of another leg on the intersection, so that the turn can be made, like a bus. But yeah, too far back, and people will just be like, I'm not going to respect this. So.
Gotcha. And plenty of people don't respect it even when it's at its maximal
Yeah,
extent.
true.
So.
We watch them take right turns here all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just- that's how it goes.
All right, so yeah, until we can figure out how to just have an automated wall that comes up to stop people when they can't turn
A wall.
on red.
It'd be expensive.
Or yeah, spikes, that would work too.
I like it.
Good ideas.
You write
Add
this
it
down.
to be on the data collection.
Put it on the list.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. And then the other kind of question I had, but again, I think it's something that will be, when there's an action item, would be more likely to come up. But I'm kind of curious about what's on the screen now.
Sure.
Kind of an ordinal ranking of the cost and like how easy some of these things are, to just get a sense of like when I'm walking around or driving, maybe things I could notice that would be like, oh, this would be really cheap and maybe this could work here.
Sure, well, we could talk about the project in the middle that hasn't been installed yet. That's on Goss Court. And what you see is a mid-block crosswalk that leads to Hunt Middle School on Goss Court. Last year, you all approved some no parking adjacent to that crosswalk so we could clear sight lines. And, you know, it would be a safer place for students to cross. The residents that live there, one gentleman in particular who lives right there, kept calling me. He's like, people still park there. They're still parking there. Kids are crossing the street. It's so unsafe. You got to do something. And we started with parking enforcement. Worked with Mark over in parking services. Sent out some parking services folks. They issued a few tickets. Compliance was achieved, sort of temporarily, until they stopped going. And then what we found is, okay, so what we're going to do is put in painted curb extensions with bollards and planters. And the residents are really happy about it, and that's just like super cheap. We already have the bollards, we already have the planters. Some of them are being just moved from the old North End Greenway that's gonna become just curb. And the paint is cheap. I mean, all in all, I think with staff time, it's probably like $1,000 maximum to put in that painted curb extension. And I'm sure it's gonna be effective. Inexpensive solution, paint, bollards, planters, effective. So that's an example right there.
How expensive, like just rough ballpark, is it to install those, the light
RFPs?
pedestrian crossings? Yeah.
Right. So the RFPs themselves, just those units are $10,000 to $12,000. Now, if it's a new crosswalk, you got to do all that curb work. That's going to be another $10,000 to $20,000. And if there's BED, they got to put in lighting. That's another. You know, it starts adding up. So if it's just an existing crosswalk and we're upgrading it to an RFB, we know lighting's good, the ramps are good, we don't have to worry about ADA compliance, Title I, $10,000 to $12,000. But if it's like a brand new crosswalk, it could be anywhere from like $20,000 to $30,000, even $40,000, because there could be drainage issues too, and that involves stormwater work.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Sure.
And then, oh dang it, I think I just lost what I
It's okay.
was thinking. Oh, no, in terms of like the heat advisory today and other things like that, I was wondering, I don't know that I've ever seen this implemented well, but increasing shade over like sidewalks and kind of like pedestrian ways, if there might be something that could be done. All the ideas I have like probably don't stand up to scrutiny because they'd increase some other risk or oddity.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, something like that, it would have to pass the ADA compliance test, right? So we need enough space, width and height for folks to kind of get through. And if you start putting in this kind of infrastructure, you know, is it going to pass that kind of smell test, amongst other things? And yeah, I mean, I think what we can do is what the mayor has done, which is open up places to go to cool off. I think Miller Center's open. Other places are open around the city on hotter days to get cool. In terms of like putting up shade and things like that. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
But tree canopy, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Our road design is so instrumental to cooling our urban areas. And so with our roads, Champlain Parkway, you see, we have worked to create green belts. On Pine Street, there is a green belt that doesn't have any trees on it currently along the parkway, and retrofitting this is expensive and challenging. So when we develop streets, the new bank in Cherry downtown will have robust treescape, and we'll really seek to cool the street with good street trees. So it's good design. We work with our friend, the Parks Department, to incorporate trees as we can. They've been doing a lot of bare root stock planting, which is much cheaper than doing the root ball planting, which has enabled them to plant a lot more each year. So we're trying, but then we have to chop down trees if there's a conflict with utilities or there's a sightline issue. So we're always trying to get better at this and place them in the right spots so they can stay.
That was a major component with the Archibald pavement work. When we talked about the traffic calming and the work that we were doing out there, Julia Zaki and I walked that corridor and we're like, there are no trees along Archibald, like at all. We need to fix this. And so we worked with our folks, our city arborist, and yeah, I forgot about trees.
So you'll be planting a couple
Oh my
trees as
God,
part of the
yes.
paving project?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's street needs trees.
And if you're ever,
You live
a plug for parks, if you're ever curious about what tree's in front of you, they have an excellent website that tells you
Yeah.
exactly what tree, the age, the species, everything.
Yeah, and honestly, the city arborist, VJ Komai, he is very responsive if you ever have questions about any of the tree work.
And the city's dealing with the,
Yeah,
you
the
know, getting rid of
ash borer.
ash and any old elms that are still here, so nature-based climate solutions are really important. Attend the conservation board meeting.
Well, that's all I had. Thank you very much for answering those questions.
Commissioner Hayes?
Thank you. It was great being able to read through this. There's a lot of work, clearly, that went into this. So thank you for all of your work.
Sure.
One question I had was just about the process of, updating this plan. I saw somewhere in there that it is going to be looked at annually. It's a working document. Obviously, you've got the transportation plan update in the works. So I'm curious, is there a way, or is there already a process in place for the next update? And how will, residents be able to be involved in providing, feedback?
I mean, it's a constant feedback loop with all of our work. These larger plans, like Plan BTV Walk Bike, are like the head of the table of all the walking and biking plans. Things like the new North End sidewalk scoping study that just wrapped up. And those plans inform the bigger plans. So, yeah, there will be opportunities for updates. And over the next year and a half, we will be doing the update to the transportation plan, and I'm sure there'll be lots of questions when it comes to the walking and biking element. And the two are kind of separated, but there's a lot of overlap.
Okay.
So,
No.
hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Did I hear part of your question was just about public outreach, and there will be extensive opportunities as part of that plan to engage, and we'll have proactive reach outs to underrepresented communities to make sure everybody's participating.
Great. And, along those lines, you mentioned earlier that there is a list or some mini lists of kind of different projects in the works, and I'm sure you have ways of prioritizing that you've described in the new plan. Is that list publicly accessible?
No, and I'll tell you
yeah.
why. I'll tell you why. I hesitate to put out like this list of all these amazing projects that we're gonna do when we don't have the funding.
Right.
Right, so I don't wanna produce a list of things unless we're actually gonna do it, unless we're actually gonna follow through with the work. There are certain things on our list that we're gonna do, that we're just gonna do, because we do have budget for those things. But if, we don't get the grant funding that we're hoping for, certain things we won't be able to do.
Okay.
I would add, for the purposes of Commissioner Hayes, since you're new to the commission, there is a city website that has a general projection of capital projects, some of which have a transportation nexus, via a map form that a lot of folks find somewhat relatable. It is a deep dive. We can direct you to that and connect with you offline, but it's burlingtonvt.gov/construction. It'll give you a preview of this year's work, but also, like I said, an outlook of the next 5 or so years of other capital work the city has somewhere conceptually in plans, some of which
No,
may
I-
be funded in part or.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. No, and it's
Oh, great.
really useful. I'm more curious about when residents are calling up saying, I have this problem on my street, and you all come out and, do a speed study or whatever it is. How do how do they know where they end up falling in the priority system? That's
Right. So if you're talking about traffic calming, they're triaged. And we do have a GIS map just specifically for traffic calming requests. And it shows which projects qualify for traffic calming because of speed condition or whatever it might qualify for, and which projects need data, which projects don't qualify. And I'm happy to.
So maybe that's what I'd be,
Yeah. If you're interested in traffic calming, because traffic calming it's obviously related to Plan BTV Safety Action Plan, but it's not necessarily the same thing. There's definitely some peripheral benefits to engaging in pedestrian safety projects, for sure. But not all traffic calming is a pedestrian safety project.
correct, but
Right.
many are. I
Oh,
mean, a
of
lot of
course, yeah.
times there
Yes.
are people walking who feel unsafe crossing a particular intersection, or, I noticed a trend of all the mid-block crossings incidents. Most of them happen with mid-block crossings. So there is definitely, and I think it was talked about in the plans. Okay, thank you for that.
Sure.
I'm finished.
Vice Chair Fox?
I don't have a lot of comments on this, obviously, because I worked with y'all on it, and it's super exciting to see it already moving to the next phase. But something I'm sort of kicking myself for, and I have to ask, is about maintenance.
Yeah, it's definitely a
Um,
blind spot.
Yeah.
And part of the work that we're doing is, like I said, what we're not doing is these major corridor redesigns, large reconstruction projects. More of what we are looking towards doing is upgrading existing crosswalks, right? So it's already a crosswalk that's there, but it needs to be, those mid-block crossings that don't necessarily have the correct treatment, and switches to intersections that already exist. So it's already an intersection, it already has signals, we're just doing some timing changes. RFB is a new thing, right? So there are some new projects for sure, but less so. But yeah, maintenance is
Yeah.
definitely something that we struggle with.
Yeah, and, I appreciate the quick build, convenience, cheapness, but like the green, the Old North End Greenway is a great example. Like, we can't even keep those planters without graffiti and like the
Mhm.
curbs fully painted, and like
Yes.
it's the middle of July and we're just now getting to restriping our bike lanes, like.
Right. It's a tough one for our traffic team.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, they had quite a crew of college students that would come. I think it was like 7 to 10 college students that would come and work and just paint all summer long.
Yeah.
And the past like 4 or 5 years, it's been difficult. It's been a challenge for the traffic team to be fully
Yeah.
staffed. I mean, funding is one issue, but if you just don't have enough people power
Yep.
to get out there and do some of that work, it can be challenging. And they're looking to hire folks, so, if people are interested.
We need to do better on the long line painting. I acknowledge this year's late, and we've traditionally moved up the date. This year, unfortunately, the coordination with L&D didn't happen as fast as I would have liked. So we recognize that needs to be done earlier. But your overall point is we need to figure out collectively, with your help, how to fund this effort more, because it's all great to build a great street, but if you can't maintain it, it's not going to remain a great street.
Yeah.
So, good point. It is a collective blind spot, as most communities and most constituents are more excited to build new stuff than to do the hard, expensive, but not as sexy day-to-day maintenance.
Yeah.
Great point.
That was the only thing I had.
I think my only question was around timeline. When do we hear back about the two grants, the V-Trans one and the DOT one?
That's a great question. The V-Trans grant, I think we'll hear back by the end of summer. Safe Streets for All, I'm not quite sure, to be
Okay.
honest with you. I don't, and any timeline that FHWA comes out with, honestly, just being transparent, I don't trust. We're still working with FHWA to execute an agreement on an award that we received a year ago, actually over a year ago, for Main Street signal upgrades, which is a demonstration project. And we're kind of jockeying around some of the wording in the agreement. So it's, yeah, that's
So
kind of.
potentially, if awarded, like, we're outside of the ones maybe that
Yep.
DPW is already looking to implement, the one sort of above and beyond that is probably like a next summer project.
Yeah, next
With
summer.
us sort of looking at that in the spring. I'm just trying to figure out a timeline of when it's
Yes.
coming back,
Correct.
potentially, if awarded the money.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll just say, I think, given the focus on safety, I think I maybe put it in an email to some staff, like I used it at work to reference the safety in a grant that was focused at safety. So it's helpful, I think, for community partners to also use it for their own funding as well. So thank you.
Yep.
Rob, is there anyone online for public comment?
We do have a member of the public. John, you are being promoted to speak during public comment.
Hi, thank you. Hopefully you can hear me. Great. Hi, my name is John Benoit. I live in the New North End, and like the Department of Public Works and this project, I am data-driven. And I'm really happy to see the crash data dashboard called out on this presentation. And that's actually what I'm hoping to comment on. So I live right off of Plattsburgh Ave, and a couple of months ago, I witnessed a pretty serious accident. A man laying in the road, he had a pretty serious head injury. And I actually wrote it up on Front Porch Forum and was really grateful to receive an email from both Councilor Litwin and Director Spencer. But in the months following, we've emailed a couple of times and we haven't been able to find any record of the accident at all. And so I just want to urge the department to make sure that you're receiving all of the data that you need, and to urge you to make sure that that data is being reported. I know this is specific to Plattsburgh Ave, and we know that there's issues with that street, but I think that this is probably evidence of a broader issue with data collection and reporting. So I'd really like to urge you to look into that more. If this one event that I happened to witness didn't make it into the database, I'm worried about what else might not be in there.
Excellent, thank you.
Can I comment on?
Yeah.
No. So that particular crash, we don't call them accidents, they're definitely crashes. We don't, it was within the past like 6 months or so this year. We don't get like data right away. We did get the police report for that particular crash. That particular crash, how do I comment on it?
There were multiple crashes. Philip, I think he's referring to a second one that we haven't received yet.
Okay.
In terms of crash report. If you were talking about the one with the driver falling asleep, that was a prior crash. So, we are working with the police to try to improve the timeliness in which we get these crash reports so we can move and advance them. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, you're incorrect. The crash that I'm thinking of is the
Okay.
person that drove their moped right into a parked car. So that's the one that I'm thinking
okay.
of. So we
Okay.
did get
All
a
right.
police report, and I think that's the one this gentleman is referring
Okay.
to. And so
My apologies.
No, it's all right. It's just when those situations occur, I know when people hear about crashes on a street, it gets them fired up, and they're like, we need traffic calming, and we need to respond to this. And but when a crash like that occurs, where someone drives their bike into a parked car, that's not necessarily a situation where there was like a speeding incident, or it doesn't make me look at that situation as a transportation engineer and planner and go, this is how I can design something around that, if you follow what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Trying to be the least judgmental possible.
It is fair to say that we are collecting data
Yes.
on that corridor, and there are
Yes.
speed exceedances on Plattsburgh Avenue. So the caller is,
Yeah.
right that there are data elements that we're seeing on that corridor that require further attention.
Definitely, and important to note, we are proceeding with the Plattsburgh Ave lane closure, the right-hand turn lane. We will be putting in protections for the bike lanes, some curb stops and bollards. The line striping is happening. What we're waiting on is a camera detection system at the intersection, so that we smarten up the hardware and software, so that we're responding to the queuing that occurs. And, yeah, that's moving forward.
Excellent.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Which is a traffic calming element for Plattsburgh Ave, for sure.
So, well, first, John, thank you for your comment. And working with data, it's always hard to, you have the unknown unknowns where you're like, you
Right.
just don't know where your vision is failing. But I do wonder, so if I understand correctly, Philip, are you saying that that this crash would not make it onto that particular data dashboard?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm
Okay.
saying the context. So it's one thing to say that a crash occurred, right? It's another thing to look at the incident itself and look at the actual data within the data. What happened here, right? What is the thing that actually occurred that caused this crash to occur? And how am I going to use my knowledge of transportation engineering to design a potential traffic calming solution? And for that particular crash, I just don't see one.
Well, so is the crash going to be in the data dashboard?
Of course, yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
100%.
that is reported, and I was unaware, and I apologize, Philip,
That's okay.
I had known the first crash
Yeah.
that happened a year or so ago, that Councilor Litwin wanted to make sure we were
Yes.
following up on, and then there was the second crash
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Mr. Benoit brought up. So
Yep.
anything that's in a police report and is filed with the police is going to end up in our interactive data dashboard.
Right. It takes time. We met with the police department to discuss, kind of streamlining the system, and they're like, there's no streamlining. The police department has a process. They have to do a full investigation. Once the investigation is complete, then, other folks, even internal folks like us, can have access to the police report. And we have a pretty robust, we do get police reports and we read them, to get an idea on what actually happened.
Can you give me an estimate of the types of lags we're dealing with?
For all the police reports?
Is it 6 months? Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah, I would say
Is
like
it-
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, like 6 months.
Um,
In getting it to the data dashboard, yeah. Right, but we can get police reports within 45 days. And so we're not just like looking at the data dashboard and going like, oh, well, that police report's not in there, so we can't make a decision now. If we know that an incident occurs on a corridor, then we're going to proactively reach out to the police department, try and get the police report as soon as we can, which is 45 days, and then read it, get an idea on what happened, and try and get some context around what's happening to make quicker decisions.
And so, is it the case that you would, and I'm probably wrong again here, but
That's okay.
that after 45 days, is it until the investigation is complete that you're able to, do you have to wait until then to
We
put
have
it
to
in the
wait.
data dashboard?
Well, I don't, yeah.
The data, the police report is what is used to bring the
Right.
data into the data dashboard.
And we
So-
can manually put things in too.
Okay,
But-
and that's kind of where I was headed, which is I was more wondering if it was possible to, because I understand the concerns of a resident or anyone that sees something happen and then it's as though it didn't happen. That's always quite alarming.
Sure.
And can be very frustrating. So I was wondering if it would be possible to put in something where it's known to be incomplete or pending or not finalized or something like that. I understand that could cause some problems as well, but anyway, I'm kind of curious about that process and how to meet that situation where that lag exists.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say when it comes to a lot of this data is it's not like being a short order cook. We're not just cooking it up and then putting it in a spreadsheet and calling it a day. That's not the only piece of data that we collect. I mean, there's data collection happening from all sorts of different angles that we're managing. So, yeah, I mean, it gets updated. I feel like what we have on that data dashboard is a fairly good snapshot of what's currently happening on any given street.
Okay.
But it's hard though, because I mean, these incidents can bring a lot of emotions to the surface.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that can, I mean, it can upset, for sure. And we recognize that.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Rob, no one else online, just to make sure.
That's it.
Excellent. This is an information item, and thank you, Philip, for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
I look forward to hearing more about this at future meetings.
Yeah, you definitely will. See you later.
Moving on to 7, Marketplace Garage. Chapin, are you teeing this up before Jackie?
Yes, and is Jackie online? No?
Jackie's not online.
Okay, great, then it's me.
Thanks, Phil.
All right,
Don't-
so.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
In your packet is a memo from Jackie and myself, basically providing context. At this last commission meeting, you all evaluated 2 parking promotion efforts, approved 1, the 2-hour free in Main and Winooski lot, and did not act on the Marketplace Garage 1-hour free. The funding for that was included in the council's budget at their initiative. And as a result, their direction was to implement this. Because they have developed a funding stream for it, there is no need to come to the commission for a rate change because basically the council is funding the first hour for folks in Marketplace Garage. So we come to the commission if there's a needed rate change. I know it seems a little technical or technocratic to have the commission needing to approve it if there's a rate change, but if the council funds it, there's no action needed. But we heard loud and clear the desire on the commission's part to get metrics. So we spent a lot of time in the memo talking about what metrics we're planning to bring to you, and we're proposing that at least every other month we bring the year-over-year occupancy and revenue numbers for Marketplace. And that because of the lag on gross receipts and sales tax information, which we heard from you all was also of interest, it is likely that we wouldn't have that until after the promotion ends to be able to look back and determine whether there's a correlation or a causality between the movement of or the promotion and the movement on those revenues. So wanted to bring that for your discussion. Happy to talk through how you all want to proceed, whether this makes sense or have different suggestions for us.
Thank you. Opening up to commissioner comments. Vice Chair Fox, would you like to go first?
Yeah, obviously.
Yes.
I don't actually have a lot of comments on this. I do have one burning question that I've brought up before that I think Commissioner Davis brought up at our last meeting is, what do we do? What happens when that $45,000 runs out? Is the parking, like before the promotion is set to end, right? Like, say, as we hope, occupancy in the Marketplace Garage increases and more people are using that 1 hour and it draws down those funds quicker than we anticipate. Is the parking fund then paying for that 1 hour free until Thanksgiving and we're spending more money than council allocated?
Right.
Or do we, I just want to, Anyway, that's the question and I'll let you respond.
Great. That is a very smart question. We are going to need to monitor how this is being used month to month and see if we're going to end up in that scenario. The way council allocated the money is they're paying that first hour, but only up to $45,000. So if this is getting used more, then either we're going to need to supplement that funding or we're going to have to come to you asking for a rate change to get us through to Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. While I'm on just like the parking stuff, I actually, this will shock you, but I drove downtown and parked in the main Winooski lot recently. And I was surprised to see how underutilized it was. And I feel like part of that is because when you're heading into the Winooski Ave entrance of it, you just see all the construction signs because the intersection was closed. I don't know if it's still closed, and people are just not driving down that one block of Main Street. So how are they going to know that there's a municipal parking lot there? Can we have like a sign next to the?
I took pictures,
oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, like, just say
Yeah.
like,
I was
hey,
in,
the
like,
road's
our
closed, but
park
here's
last
the
week.
entrance to this parking lot, and there's 2 hours free. Like, you know, like,
Yes. You're so right.
yeah.
We need one at the squiggly.
I would think businesses might also be
That's the other,
advertising that as well.
that's the other piece.
Yes.
That, and I completely echo what Commissioner Barr said. Yeah, I think that was all I had on this, Chair.
Excellent.
But, yeah, I appreciate the work on the metrics, because that's what we need. And at the end of the day, parking is a supply and demand question, right? And so, right now, it seems that with both of these facilities, we have more supply than demand, and so hopefully this promotion works and sort of,
Yeah.
you know, gives us a better equilibrium going forward. And so that's one of the reasons why I am reluctantly okay with both of the proposals at this time. Or, you know, the promotion we approved and whatever. I know we're not approving anything tonight, but,
Right.
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. that's it.
We are expecting the intersection to be open, the Winooski and Main intersection, in the next 2 weeks, which we fully expect will drive a lot more usage to that lot. We'll see if there's some interim signage we can put up in the meantime.
Yeah.
And this is open for the evenings and weekends piece,
Yes, but we are expecting north-south traffic on Winooski to be predominantly open as well.
okay, excellent.
Same way that St. Paul and
Yeah.
Pine Street have been.
And the traffic team did put up some kind of compliance signs that they felt were big enough without being cumbersome. And we have been exploring with business and workforce development if there is a big banner, because our interest was to have a big free parking banner
Yeah.
on Main Street. Just looking at the funding, right now, we haven't been given the green light for a safe, kind of compliant place to put
Yeah.
that. That makes sense with billboard law and road safety, but that's our interest, and hopefully we could pull that off,
Okay.
especially when the road's more flowing.
Yeah.
Commissioner O'Neill of the Block Club?
Because I've got my receipts here. Because I think I've biked down, up and down, like at least twice a day for the past week. And, we need more bike, more bike parking.
Yes, yeah,
We
that
totally
too.
need more
That was
bike parking.
also something I had to say.
But, so, I took a picture at my favorite intersection of Main and Union Street, but I didn't take it of the no turn on red. But you see going down the hill, going west on Main Street, it says, you know, orange construction, road closed, no through traffic, and then you see Periwinkles is open.
Big
We-
banner.
We need to get on with Periwinkles, because they got it going on. I see signs everywhere. So I had just biked up through,
Mhm.
through downtown, through the chain link fence, up Main Street. So I also took a picture of the car park, which there's a lovely new sign there that says 2-hour free parking. However, someone needs to get out there with a weed whacker by the,
Mhm.
you know, little pin sign up there.
Hairpin sign.
And I know that you need the orange tape, but it just looks a little janky. So it looks not inviting at all, even though the surface of the car park looks great, the sign looks great. I know that there's parking there, but
Mhm.
maybe I could stand on the corner.
With a sandwich board. It's not really a billboard if you're moving, right?
So that, that corridor does not invite vehicles down there. You know, something that says 2-hour free parking in the city lot on this corner, something to compel folks to go down there, I think would be fantastic. And calling parks and just getting a little weed
Mhm.
whacker out there would also, I took another picture, just fireworks. To be a little bit more inviting. And I think then
Mhm.
also coming, so I was on bike, not in the car, so I don't know. Could be wrong. I'm probably gonna be wrong on this, we're just gonna say anyway. So heading north on Winooski, the only way to get to Main then is to cut through Murdermore. So is that going to be open, that intersection, in a couple weeks, the
Mhm.
Main Winooski one?
Yep.
Okay. Because then I think, this was looking down at Main Street, but also recognizing that we'll have traffic also going in Winooski would be
Mhm.
helpful. So signage, weed whacking, something at the top, wherever there says road closed, that we still have parking there.
Parking ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hear you loud and clear. We did finish all the water work on the project today, so major milestone and getting closer to reopening Winooski once we get all the stormwater connections done.
Okay, and I did take a picture of the sign, because the sign's new and I like it, it's great. And I've talked to a couple of business owners downtown.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's only 1 hour free. I'm like, it's 2 hours.
Yep.
It's right here, so I think
Great.
it's also making some folks feel better.
Yep.
I think also recognizing that in some cases, Public Works is doing, the heavy lift of, we continue to accommodate to concerns from the business community. We all want Burlington to survive. Some of this is deck chairs on the Titanic right now, and there is a lot of antisocial behavior downtown
Mhm.
that is more off-putting than a car park spot. So thanks to the staff on this, I appreciate it.
Can I add one more thing? I'm just thinking about in other cities that I've visited, some of the municipal parking lots are really well identified on Google Maps. And I feel like maybe that's something that we could do that
Mhm.
might not be a huge lift, is just
Yeah.
because if people don't know where to go, they're gonna turn to their phones and their map applications, so.
They're gonna type in parking and.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you say the parking lots? Or,
Mhm.
Mhm.
yeah, the garages seem to be okay. We have had a really hard time renaming the downtown garage, which you'll notice.
Interesting, okay.
Still listed as College Street garage.
It is, yeah, I saw
Okay.
that.
So that was started by BBA when we still had our contract with them. It continued with Jeff Paget and myself trying to work through that.
Okay.
We thought we had solved it, and yeah, right, it's still listed as College Street. In terms of the lots, if those are not clear, we certainly can look into making those more clear, the surface
Don't worry,
lots.
the chair is on it.
I'm just doing the suggest and edit thing multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it every 5
Great.
minutes.
Okay. Sorry, that's the last thing, and someone else should go now.
Commissioner Hayes?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Burrow?
I'll just add a comment that having been here as long as I have, I was here at the beginning when we would go around to see what the parking situation was. And the elephant in the room, as Commissioner O'Neill Vivanco said, it's not just the parking issues that are sometimes a deterrent.
Yeah.
But I have never gone downtown and not found a space. Well, one day during the marathon, when I parked in a lot that was the UPP and
Mhm.
paid $30 for an hour or something like that. It was something ungodly, but I had to park. So I think that it really does come down to what we've discussed here is the wayfinding. And if Google Maps or Waze or any of those things, if we can find ways to get information out there. Because a lot of people, especially folks that aren't from around here, that's,
Yep.
and, trying to find Rue Canada. Not sure where that is, but hey, they'll find it. That's it. Thanks.
Commissioner Davis?
So I have, I've been trying to look through the ordinances here because I'm curious about the city council's rationale for being able to essentially go around or circumvent Public Works Commission authority over the parking. And I'm not sure I agree with a reading of the ordinance that because they're footing the bill, they can do it anyway. And part of the reason I bring this up is not because this is a bad idea, but because I don't necessarily like the implication that if the Public Works Commission should have that authority, that it is able to be circumvented in this way. So, I guess, can you provide, if you know, more context around their argument and, well, I guess I'll just start there.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yes, we checked in with the city attorney to understand the reading of ordinance and authorities, and got clear guidance from the city attorney that if the council funded this, then there technically is no rate change, which is similar to how we've done with you all some promotions in the past where there was money identified, where we've informed the commission but haven't asked for approval for a rate change. I'm happy to get the city attorney's kind of analysis of that. If there's a desire to operate differently or change ordinance or get the council to check in with the commission before acting, those are all things that, you know, we can discuss.
Okay.
It is an city ordinance is definitely a complex beast. It is in need of overhaul, and just because it allows something, there may be a desire on the commission to ask for additional process, and we can have that conversation.
Okay. I'm kind of working through something vaguely similar at the Public Utility Commission. That's a tricky statute-driven kind of technicality. But I think, well, I guess I don't know. I still have not read Robert's Rules of Order, which I clearly need to do. But if we are to, I guess, through what mechanism would I acquire the city attorney's kind of like
I will get it for you.
Explanation? Okay.
Yeah.
And I think beyond that piece, a non-city council related question I have is I think the kind of mapping, like better wayfinding idea is really good, and I'm wondering if a layer that could be added on to that wayfinding would be the pricing of the different parking areas. I had an experience over the weekend where I think we wound up in a much more expensive, still a city-run lot, but like a more expensive one than was needed for where we were going. One of the issues of typically running late is you sometimes don't have enough time to make a quick change. But anyway, so I just think that could be a helpful aspect. And that may already be available, so it could really just be entirely my fault.
Yeah, I do love the idea of seeing if we can tighten up what is being shown on Google Maps for the public view, but for folks who are in the know, we do have both at burlingtonvt.gov/parking or parkburlington.com, which we're still using as kind of a shell page, a map of all of the public parking available with rates. Generally, I'd say probably very current in terms of the rates. Usually we'll highlight our promotions, and we do have other private lots for public consumption. So if something, if everything's filled up or you want something in a different location, we have many of those listed on that map as well. I think there's still clearly the larger point, right? You'll eventually know that as a DPW commissioner or a Burlington resident, there are out-of-town guests, people who are less attuned to our website, and how do they find out? And that's a great question, but just for your edification, I'd say check burlingtonvt.gov/parking, click on the map and see if that's useful, and we'd love to take any feedback you've got, if it's user-friendly or not, and we'll work on that.
Okay, yeah, and one thing, because I have looked at that page, I know, and I should have known to do that in this case, but I'm wondering if, I don't think on the page, so correct me if I'm wrong, that you can like put in an address and it basically tell you like, hey, maybe you should park in this lot, or like, here are the prices around that area.
It's not as refined as that, but the link, it is through ArcGIS, where if you go to that parking map, you can plug in an address, mostly within the downtown corridor. We do have a layer that I don't think is active for like residential parking. Actually, it is, I'm seeing it now, but if you plug in an address, it will zoom you into that location where you'll then look around for where the parking's available.
Oh, great.
It's ArcGIS, so it's good. There's gonna be bugs, but hopefully that gets us closer to kind of where we want to be for people to find close parking.
Yeah.
I think it is, it's good for that. I just did not use that capability, so thank you. Yep, now I have the power.
It should be mobile-ish friendly, so again, we'll take that feedback. We have good GIS person that's very responsive, and we can make tweaks, maybe not wholesale changes, but if you find something while you're out and it's not as mobile friendly, let us know.
Okay, awesome, yeah, thank you.
My 2 items are, I think, when you do get the information from the city attorney, if you could just share it with the entire commission, I think
Yes.
others are definitely interested.
Yeah.
Second is, what was I saying? I appreciate the staff response in terms of the data and sort of having that brought to the commission on a bi-monthly basis. The piece that I think I'm still is missing is the surveying of the businesses, the sort of qualitative piece behind sort of, you know, what is driving folks to downtown. You know, I think that's the piece that I think we as a commission still would like to see from business and workforce development in collaboration with DPW, to sort of see both pieces together.
Okay.
Sort of just, I think, support the point that other commissioners have brought. It's not maybe necessarily the free parking, but other things.
What we can do is follow up with CEDO, which now has subsumed BWD, the Community and Economic Development Office, and see what business survey and outreach they're planning on doing, and seeing if we could fold that question into something they're doing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I add something else? Thanks. So the one aspect of the city council funding this separately that I think could be improved is some of the questions that we've all had are getting to this idea of, so you want to spend X number of dollars, is that actually the best, most cost-effective mechanism to induce the result that's being asked to be induced? And I think that kind of optimization is where the data that, like we've talked about and all that comes into play. But that's part of why I think the either more process or kind of a different process is important in this situation, so that, again, not that the end result being looked at is a bad end result, but that this may not be the best way to get there. But I do also know that this was something that was brought to the, or if I understand correctly, brought to the Department of Public Works and by the business people at Church Street. So I understand where the idea came from and kind of how it wound up being supported. But I just think there might be better ways to spend the money, and there are, I do get that, I guess, if they funded it this way where it's only being drawn down that account, if people are using it, then I guess, like, if it's not used all the way, the money still exists for some other purpose. But anyway, that is kind of, I think, partly our getting to some of our questions and like how that interfaces with the city council kind of funding it. Just a comment.
I'll just say, I think one thing that I think can help, that has been sort of on my list over the past year as chair and over the next year continuing in chair, is to, at least for me, to attend at least the 2 meetings on a more regular basis on behalf of the commission, to sort of keep that relationship between us and city council. I've had conversations with some city councilors on that committee around that, so I think that's something that I'm trying to work into sort of that position, or this position.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And if you can't make one or something like that and you need someone else to step in, just let us know.
That would be also helpful.
So,
Great suggestion, to make sure we're all coordinated.
yep. Rob, anyone online for public comment?
Chair, there is no one with a raised hand right now, so
Excellent.
none for public comment.
Okay. This is also information, so move on to the director's report.
Great. In your packet, I talked about a couple of things. First, welcome again to Commissioner Hayes, and to our new officers, our new old officers. I was very excited to be the MC at the July 10th groundbreaking for the wastewater plant upgrades. We were starting the upgrades to stage 0, which were the upgrades to the headworks of all 3 plants. The headworks are the mechanical screening and grit processing stages of our wastewater plants. And this is a initial, I believe, $17 million investment at this phase, but a small part of the overall $150+ million upgrades to the plants overall. But this is an important first stage, and I was very pleased that we had this event, especially because it shined a light on the fact that our plants are beyond end of life with much of their equipment, and as a result, just earlier this week, we had a clarifier go down at main plant. As a result, we had to take some emergency actions to move the water and the sludge from that clarifier into the other clarifiers. It did not go as smoothly as we'd like, and the suspended solids, some of which were captured, but some of the suspended solids were not. And we did increase our disinfection dosing to address that, and for a hour period, we exceeded our permit in our effluent at the main plant. We have done enhanced sampling at beaches and have not seen a significant change in the water quality at the beaches. As you all know, and the public may not, that our effluent is discharged over half a mile from shore beyond the breakwater. And we, as of tonight, have taken down the 48-hour notice signs. The beach water quality from all the testing has looked good. So please do check in with the parks page for beach updates. And I am happy to answer any questions. Rob, is there anything you want to add?
I think you nailed it. The one thing we would say is, while we are removing the beach postings, given the growing threat of cyanobacteria, we still want you and members of the public to stay on top of Parks' page, be vigilant of anything in the water with the potential for cyanobacteria, but for right now, we expect all of the southern beaches to be open as of now.
Yeah.
Great. Do any commissioners have any questions to items specifically on the director's report? Vice Chair Fox?
Are we still, is Commissioner Hayes going to be able to do the ceremonial wastewater treatment plant tour?
We talked about it.
I would love to.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Even while it's under construction? Great.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Okay, no.
It is.
It's
Okay,
a
great.
very
It is. Yeah.
interesting and important part, I think, of being on the commission. so-
No, great, sign me up.
Okay.
Great.
We usually do it in the fall, so.
We appreciate the encouragement.
Not a day like today.
No,
Look,
right.
round 3, I'm gonna,
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm gonna
I'm
be
s-
able to give the tour.
Yes.
Not actually, but, because it's very,
Yeah.
advanced, way above my pay grade.
Great.
Anyway, yeah, that was the only question I had.
Excellent.
I'll be there.
Moving on to commissioner items. Anyone would like to go first?
I have none.
No, Commissioner
I
Commissioner Hayes?
just, yeah, I had a question about the speed bumps that have gone up on South Cove.
Mhm.
I'm curious if they are part of a request from a resident, and if there's any history there, or, speed study data associated with that. I know there's a sign out there requesting public comment, and I'm curious if you've heard anything positive, negative. And I don't know if this is something that would come before Public Works Commission at some point, if there was a determination to leave them there, more permanently, although I understand they'll be taken out during the winter anyway, but I was just
Mhm.
curious.
This is built up from last year's kind of initial trial run of some of the temporary speed tables or speed humps that have been installed around the city. I'm not recalling where this originated. I would anticipate that there would have been some resident interest at some point to bring that to the transportation team for them to select it, or based on what you may have heard from team earlier, which I don't think on South Cove there is, but correct me if I'm wrong, accident history or something else that would propel them to want to add that. So I don't personally know if there was a specific resident or residence request. We can certainly follow
Yeah.
up to get the rationale for why they went there. On some of the other locations last year and then this year, there were longstanding traffic calming requests. This has been looked at as a low-cost, quick way to implement and then pull out as needed, and they've made some modifications over the last year. I believe Philip mentioned it, but some lower heights on some of the locations, given some of the feedback and experience we had last year, but certainly we'd be happy to follow up on this.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
curious, and I think it's a really good spot for something like that. It's the beginning of the bike trail. It's high traffic area for pedestrians, cyclists, and vehicular traffic. But just, having that data, I think I'd
Yeah.
be curious. I'm also interested in understanding, I think there are speed bumps rather
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I'll be curious about the feedback from those who kind of frequent the street more often, and curious if a speed hump might be more appropriate. I know it's a good thing to bring the cars down to almost just stop right there and be looking out for bikes, but it is a lot of wear and tear on folks' cars too. So anyway,
Yeah.
we can see what the community has to say about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners with commissioner comments? Commissioner Davis?
Yeah, I've got a couple that I think are pretty quick. On Lakeside Avenue here, I think this came up before, but, and I think it's probably driver error, but I just want to note it, that I did see a car get stuck in between those two lights where one was red. So I don't know if it was a timing issue. I don't know if it was something bizarre. I suspect
Yeah.
that it was a driver error. But when they were kind of stuck in the middle, they just clearly had no idea where they were supposed to be, because you're not supposed to be stuck in the
Right.
middle. So I guess if that.
We can take a look at the light cycle, and yes, I have seen that occasionally as well. And my understanding is that it is an anomaly of people getting confused, but if we're seeing a prevalence of that, maybe there's signage or timing that needs to be adjusted.
Okay, awesome. And then Home Avenue, kudos, I've noticed the grinding of the median, I think is done. I think the
Yeah.
only sections that were gonna be done by the previous commission decision was done. I was, or I guess, so that project, the remaining parts, as I understand it, would be bike lanes, and then a no right on red sign turning onto Shelburne from Home Avenue. And I was just curious about kind of how that was going.
Yeah. You saw the curb ramp that was also installed,
Oh,
providing
yes.
bike access to Market 32
Yep.
Shopping Plaza.
That's awesome, yeah.
So I am not sure about the signage. I believe the sign, the no right turn on red sign, is waiting for the signal cycle upgrades at that intersection that will allow for exclusive pedestrian phase across the intersection. And we can get updates on when we expect that to be implemented.
Okay, yeah, and that's right. You're refreshing my memory that the key element is the pedestrian crossing.
Yeah.
But part of that would be the no right on red.
And I am not sure, but it may be on pause until we get the detour traffic for the Champlain Parkway no longer needing that intersection. The level of traffic we're seeing through that intersection because of the cul-de-sacing of Pine Street and the Parkway not being open is higher than normal. But we'll get you an update and follow up.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
And then my last comment / question, I think I brought up things related to it before, but I think there's an appetite, at least for me, but and my fellow commissioners, but I think from other people too, of like any volunteer opportunities or ways that people could help. Like I know there are liability issues, and like there are other things that might cause serious impediment or questions about whether it makes sense to do it, but like, if people power is what's needed for the striping or something and painting, then like, maybe we could, maybe we could volunteer and like
Yeah.
try to do it and help and like, so, and again, not just us, I do think there's a broader appetite, but, but is there a way to do that? Is this just a terrible idea? You can also tell me that, because that's very possible.
It's not a terrible idea, and thank you for reminding me of this request, as I actually followed up on it and forgot to tell you that I followed up on it. For liability reasons and safety, there are certain trainings that we require and certain safety gear that is needed to be able to do this appropriately. As a result, the way to really make sure that happens is to go through our employment kind of process. We have offered a new job opportunity, which is a part-time painter instead of just full-time positions. We really do need a full day's worth of work to make it effective. Someone who works for 2 hours is not really going to be able to be effective with this work. But if people can give a day or 2 or 3 a week, they should follow up with our traffic team. The job is posted online, a part-time job. And we are happy to pay folks in the community to do this seasonal work. So we're happy to get more people to help out in this important seasonal effort.
And that's great, and thank you. That's awesome. I will. One thing I'd like to know is that some positions, some jobs don't allow people to have another job, which the legality of that I still question. But so the payment aspect can actually wind up
Be a
impeding
detriment.
people from doing it. And so I wonder if there might be
Okay.
an opportunity to
Yep.
provide, which I know this costs time from staff, so this is not a costless request, but I'm wondering if there might be a way for there to be like a sign up to do it, accepting no pay or something like that
Right.
instead.
Just food.
And still, right.
Just food.
Oh, yeah. Or something where it's like a community, or even a commission-driven thing, I don't know, I don't want to speak for other commissioners,
Yeah.
but something where it's like we each take 1 week where one day that's what we do, and kind of in total, we make up one seasonal
Right.
person or something like that. So anyway, just kind of thoughts about, I think there's a, not that it's untapped, but like an only partially tapped resource of people that do want to help. But I do also completely understand it needs to be done safely. Like one awful incident is not worth all the effort that people
Right.
might want to put into it. So I totally get that, and I appreciate the
We'll look into the
following up.
volunteer opportunities, but if you know any friends or family, not everybody is kind of limited with not being able to get other employment. We're happy to work with people if they can do full day shifts.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
My tax bracket is already.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Nueva, did you have anything?
I did, but it's like my head is spinning on this. Like this is great. Great suggestions. Thanks to staff and the streets crew, I've seen a lot of crosswalk repainting, which is great. Up in our neighborhood on South Prospect Street, those speed humps, bumps, tables, whatever they've been called.
Yeah.
And this is probably a parks thing, the vegetation growing, saying like, here's the speed hump, is now
Yep.
growing into the signage.
Yes.
Furthermore, there isn't clear warning, visual warning on the road to indicate that you're coming up against a hump. But because I'm on that street every day, a couple
Yeah.
times a day, it's absolutely necessary because those cars would be blowing down that street anyway.
Right.
So
But the signage and markings need approval.
yeah, so a
Improvement.
little sympathy, but I do also, you know, if the
Yeah.
cars just went the speed limit, then we would need to put the speed humps, and then we wouldn't have people blowing over them and, you know, blowing out the bottom of their car. But there's no color differentiation. There had been some arrows moving towards them.
Yeah.
Those are faded.
Yeah.
I do love what's on Pine Street. I know we can't do that. I know, I love Pine Street now. But yeah, just some visual cues would be great.
Did you say this was on your street?
It's on
Prospect.
South
Oh,
Prospect.
South Prospect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The two mountains.
Yes.
Between Maple and Cliff. I mean, absolutely 100% necessary to slow the traffic, because it's like a speedway.
Yeah,
and people
I've
go through
noticed the
that.
vegetation challenge, so thank you for reminding me that I needed to follow up on that.
Because Luis Vivanco is gonna go out there with his clippers. So-
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's gonna get his lawn chair and just watch the cars.
We need to get some city goats.
Some city goods, but they're trees.
They can, city giraffes. Yeah, giraffes.
City giraffes. Anyway, that's all. Thanks.
Yes, important. Thank you for reminding me of that.
I did have another comment if possible.
Yeah.
So, people have told me many times, and I think it's general advice, that it's bad form to, have a problem and not present a solution, bring up the problem. But there are just so many problems out there. So the $45,000 that the city council is using to pay for the first hour,
Yeah.
a hypothetical different way to have used that money that might achieve the same end, might achieve a similar end. I was thinking about, multiple of us have talked about increasing bike parking downtown. And I was wondering if some sort of monitored bike parking possibility in the garages for or maybe just one garage, but at a certain time of day that's posted or something. I think for Jazz Fest one year, there was someone monitored and with a ticket system, a valet, not quite valet, but a ticketed system for bikes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
then that, yeah, it was probably local motion.
Secure-
But
secure bike
I'm
parking.
wondering if something like that I see that as having multiple effects. It would promote people biking in. It would make it easier for people to be kind of co-located if part of the problem is that we don't have a critical mass of people where you have that school of fish type thing where people are better off in groups. But then the other piece is that having someone monitoring the bikes there is also just a person that is there. So from kind of a safety or other aspect, I think it could also be beneficial. So in part, that's saying maybe there are other ways to spend the money. And then in part, I'm also wondering if, as part of a bike parking effort, that could be looked into. It may have already been looked into, so let me know if it has, or kind of anything kind of like that.
Yep. City does support the Valley Bike Parking Program for events like Letty Beach Bites and other events around town. Parks included a contribution in their budget this year for that. It could be expanded, and there could be more events, where the local motion Valley Bike Parking is provided. So we can explore, maybe as part of the FY27 budget that, the commission wants to see more Valley Bike Parking and figure out how we allocate resources as part of the budget process to do that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
I think my only comment is if you could, just for the public's sake, I think there was a WCX article last night around the reason for not having the Champlain Parkway open. If you could just sort of briefly
Oh.
touch on that, that'd be great.
Yes.
I think we talked about it last month very briefly, but.
Yes. We provided a statement, and I was pleased that they were interested in this topic. How it was framed, I think, was a little unfortunate. We have responded to interest among counselors and members of the public that there is a fair bit of congestion in the south end as a result of the Champlain Parkway project, and that there has been interest in opening up the Champlain Parkway southbound to traffic getting on the interstate before the overall project is finished. We have told the Transportation, Energy, and Utilities Committee that we will be bringing this to their next meeting, which is next Thursday, 3 to 5 p.m. in the Sharon Busher Room at City Hall. So we will be discussing with them our conversations with our contractors and the state. I will say, one of the frustrations of the CAX article is they describe the project as nearly complete. It has pavement down. It's just a base course of pavement. There's the median work that still needs to be done. There's a lot of signage work on the interstate to make it safe. we are many months of construction away from having it be a usable corridor. I will additionally say that it's not as easy as just flipping on a light switch for part of a project when there are legal considerations for us taking over a contractor's space until the project is done. And we are finding out that it's probably not going to be likely without a Herculean lift and additional significant financial resources to open it early, but we're going to have that full conversation next Thursday. CAX article was pretty quick to just say it was inferred it was an example of the city not planning well or listening to resident interests, and that is far from the case.
Excellent.
Can I add
Yeah.
2 quick things? We did talk about that internally today as well with the RE, our senior team, and
Resident engineer.
Sorry, resident.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm becoming one of you now.
An acronym.
Yeah, we did talk about all the kind of misinterpretations within that article and what we should be doing to rebut that, whether officially or more whimsically or whatnot. But there are a few other underlying issues. The safety component of having people on that roadway right now. Biking and skateboarding seems like a fun thing, but it is an active work zone. So we talked about issuing a safety advisory through our normal kind of traffic alert channel, so people, at least it permeates the community, like there are safety elements here and we don't want people to get hurt. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is to what Director Spencer said, underscoring that there is quite a bit more work per our city engineer and per the contractor and the resident engineer, quite a bit more work to be done on that section of roadway that actually for now prohibits the immediate reopening, even if per CAX it looks completely done. So look for more in the Champlain Parkway email distribution if you're signed up for that, but we do plan to address some of that so the public has a clearer understanding.
Could you,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always helpful if you have some of those talking points that you can share with
Yeah.
the commission.
Yeah,
definitely.
As we're out
Okay.
and about,
Yeah.
being able to just, that helps spread the word on some of those safety issues.
Yeah.
Will do.
Yeah.
Great,
thank you.
thanks, Rob. I appreciate the interest in that and the opportunity to share some of our communications. We did try to be responsive to the request and get factual information out. Some of it
Excellent.
was conveyed.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have one comment. Sorry, not related to the parkway at all. I'm just wondering if you have an update on the summer paving projects, like Ethan Allen Parkway, Archibald, I don't know if there are others, but any
Right.
update on the timeline for those?
Pearl Street and others.
Yes,
College-
Pearl Street,
College Street.
Pearl Street, and College
And-
Street.
yeah. Yes, indeed. The contractor is starting in the later part of the season, August or into the fall.
Okay.
So they are intending to get through the work plan this year, though given the late start, they may not get to all of it this year, and some of it may be early in spring of '26. Rob, you may know the latest.
That's what we have, and I don't think we have a draft schedule yet per se to share.
Okay. Yeah, just keeping my eye on those.
I know, and I know there's a lot of interest and eagerness. I will say we are doing some exciting coordination effort on Archibald with the trees that we're installing. We're adding some traffic calming features as part of that project as well. So we really are trying to maximize the value of the upgrade.
Yeah, same with Ethan Allen Parkway.
Yeah.
And also Pearl Street is just a mess, so I'm excited for that, just because it's,
And
I
College
mean, it's
Street
kind of
bike lane.
functioning as traffic calming as it is, so maybe we should just leave it, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's that.
Okay, that was the only
Yeah.
question I had. I just wanted to make sure I was keeping up on that.
Excellent.
Not a commissioner item, but I kind of had like a logistical thing before we adjourn about not meeting next month. Is that
Oh,
the plan still?
depends if we
I
have business.
think it depends if there's
Yeah.
potentially a consent agenda item or other topics.
Normally, we try to take August off unless there is some super urgent item. The staff's interest is to not meet in August. And when Chair Damiani met with Commissioner Hayes just earlier during the orientation, we talked about, do we want to consider rotating meeting locations around the city to potentially be more accessible to a more wider variety of folks, whether we go up to the Miller Center in the New North End or City Hall. So, we'd be open to getting your feedback on that, as it would take some time with CCTV and make sure that we're coordinated with that.
I get it. People are tired of me running to the meeting at the last minute.
But Commissioner Mutano getting his, blue.
Yeah.
blue sweater.
Whatever that is, yeah.
No, I think that is a good idea, though,
Yeah.
in all seriousness.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Excellent. Second?
Second.
Excellent. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
8:11.
8:11.